Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR, HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
Hello, welcome to the Autism Detectives. This is Patricia Lemer, the author of the new book, Total Load Theory. I hope you've gotten your copy because I'm very proud of it and it's doing extremely well in sales. So my guest today is Sara Villani. Hi, Sara.
Hi, Patty. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Sara had me on a podcast about a month ago, and I did not know her. She found me through the publicists at Skyhorse, and I just liked her so much that I invited her to come on the Autism Detective. So Sara's a mom, and she started the NeuroWellness Project. Sara, tell us about you and your project and what made you do that.
Yes, of course. So, as you stated, I am an autism mom. My son just turned 8 years old, and he's doing a lot better than he was in the beginning. I started the NeuroWellness Project about 8 months ago in the summer of 2025, just because I really saw a need for more open discussions about approaches and treatments and therapies for autism outside of ABA. And I just really kind of find it absurd and kind of unacceptable that these treatments are so inaccessible and just not well known in the general public. So I decided to start the podcast about 8 months ago. We feature clinicians and doctors and therapists and advocates and authors like yourself and people who just come on and we discuss their experiences and the work that they do to help people with autism.
Well, I love being on your podcast. Let's return to your son, if you don't mind. He's turning 8?
He just turned 8. He was born on Valentine's Day, so he just turned 8 years old.
What a wonderful gift on Valentine's Day. Tell us a little bit about his story and why you started looking for other treatments besides ABA.
Yes. So Carson was born Valentine's Day 2018, and my first baby. I'm in New Jersey, and I'm from one of the New Jersey pharma families. So starting with my grandfather and my grandmother were both like world-renowned pharmaceutical chemists. So, of course, when he's born, I'm just, going about the motions and, listening to all of the professional guidance. I guess we could start with in pregnancy. Almost every time that I have gotten a vaccine, I have experienced an adverse reaction. This, I can remember even as a child this happening, but you keep doing it because, that's just what you're told to do.
Right.
So it was no different when I got pregnant. I received the flu vaccine when I was just entering the second trimester of my pregnancy with him. I got the worst case of the flu of my life. I continued on. It actually sent me into preterm labor.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so things continued on. And then when I was about 8 months pregnant, I received my first round of the DTaP vaccine. And again, same thing. I got extremely sick, almost ended up in the hospital. And then when Carson came out, it was an induction because I developed after the DTaP polyhydramnios, or too much amniotic fluid. So it was, not safe for me to go into labor naturally. So they induced me. It was a pretty traumatic birth experience. It ended in an emergency C-section. But he came out, perfect APGAR scores. It was great. We brought him home. Fast forward to his 2-month pediatrician appointment. He gets, whatever it was, the 7 or 8 vaccines simultaneously, and he had a bad reaction. So I called the pediatrician, and they told me to give him Tylenol, and that...
Of course.
Of course, and that he would, he'd perk back up within a day or two. I will report it's now 8 years later, and I'm still waiting for that. But, so I started looking into vaccines, and I actually ended up getting kicked out of that pediatrician's office because I was asking too many questions. And at that point, I wondered how it was legal for, the doctor to tell me, if you're not going to take this product, you can't come here anymore. And that's kind of like when the wormhole opened. So by the time that COVID happened, I still had a regular job at that point. Life is busy. I had my second son was born in 2019. Just for the record, he has never had a single vaccination, avoided vaccinations during pregnancy, and he is completely neurotypical. So, fast forward when Carson was 3, up until he was 3, we had been I stopped vaccinating. However, we'd gone through early intervention, and he started OT, and he went to public preschool, but it just really wasn't doing anything for him. So I started looking into online what I could find for how to actually kind of get to the root cause of what was going on with him. That's when I found.
Seeing? What were his symptoms?
His symptoms were he was very much in his own world. So kind of the staring off into space,
right.
Very repetitive behaviors. He started missing milestones around 6 months. He took his first steps. He was just about 17 months old. So he started walking late, not responding to his name. So he just kind of seemed to be in his own little bubble. He didn't receive his diagnosis until May 2020, which was right in the beginning of COVID. But yeah, I thought that there might be more that I could be doing for him other than ABA, because he wasn't responding. He wasn't, starting to speak. But, they tell you, catch it early, and we'll just, give
right.
you ABA and OT. But that just wasn't doing it for him. There just weren't any improvements. So that's when I found.
How old was he when he was diagnosed?
He was 2.5.
What?
Mm-hmm. So he was, and that was just when I was, I had just had my second baby, so, things were crazy, and I was still working a 9-to-5 at that point, and it was just, it's a lot.
My goodness.
Yeah, but it's okay, because, this journey that we've been on, it's really, in a way, I feel like it's kind of saved my life. It's saved my son and my other son. It's really, it's shown a lot, to me and to my family. And yeah, so when I discovered Children's Health Defense through my research is kind of when the floodgates opened of information, and I realized that there was so much out there that we can and really, I feel, should be doing for people, especially with more profound degrees of autism. So we moved in 2021. I left my job, my regular 9-to-5 job, and I pulled Carson out of school, and we've been homeschooling ever since. It took me a few years to get in the swing, but after all of the reading and the research and the things that we've tried, that's when I just decided, that it's time to start a podcast and start having these conversations that I feel like we're just not having in the mainstream for some reason.
So let me back up a little. When were you working in a medically related field or just unrelated?
Unrelated. I went to school for business and gemology. So I was working as a shop manager at a fine jewelry store.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you, at some point, stopped vaccinating after that first round where he reacted, or when?
So it was the 2-month shots where he had a bad reaction. I found another pediatric group who weren't so hard on the vaccines, and I could still go there. So I ended up spacing out the next round of shots, like the 4-month round. But after that, I still, my intuition was just telling me, something's not right here. So after the 4-month shots, I stopped completely.
And then how did you find CHD?
Just poking around online. I was searching for autism, and, you're searching for, do vaccines cause autism? What causes autism? So, of course, Google tells you no. Vaccines don't have anything to do with autism. Yeah, but that's
no way.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way. And, that's what all of the doctors and the nurses and, my family members are telling me. But I just really felt like there was just a missing piece here to everything. So that's when I found CHD. And I have to tell you, CHD, I sent them an email, like a contact, just kind of saying, like, hi, I have a young son. I think that this happened. Do you have any resources? They answered me within, 24 hours, and it was the first time that I found another person to listen to what I was saying about this.
Right, yep.
So totally.
And they weren't dissing you. They were saying, yes, you're right. Yes,
exactly. And here's some resources. And, have you read this? Look at this on our website. And it was it was a completely, profoundly life-changing experience for me.
Thank
for sure.
goodness.
I know.
And so was he getting ABA, the school system, or the early intervention offered ABA and OT?
Yes, precisely. That's exactly right. And I remember when he was going through early intervention, I had always wanted to homeschool, but I wasn't sure how that was going to, work with me, still having a regular job. And, then it turns out, something's going on with him. I remember one of his ABA therapists telling me when I expressed that to him, there's no way that you can homeschool a child like that, she said, while pointing at my son.
An alien, right?
Yes, exactly. And I'm sorry to say that I believed her for a year or two. But happy to report we've been out here for about 5 years homeschooling, and he is doing fabulously. So he no longer does speech therapy. We have switched to spelling to communicate, which has been a stellar experience so far. And as for OT, he is not currently receiving OT, but I think he's getting to a point in the treatment protocols that we've been going through with him where it's going to be time for us to start looking into that again.
Mm-hmm. And then you and I talked about the vision stuff that for you to look into.
Yes, so for your listeners, I felt like, I think I noticed it a couple of years ago. I feel like my son he isn't perceiving 3 dimensions. So I wasn't really sure what to do with that. I'm asking around. None of the specialists really know what I'm talking about. And then when we sat down and you were like, oh, yeah, I was just like, wow. So there are a few in my area. Haya Herzberg in Princeton. So we're going to be catching up with her hopefully in the next few coming weeks. He's also been working with Mary Coyle for homotoxicology, and it has been amazing so far. So we are just about to start a second round for him of a more heavy detox protocol. So I think it's getting to the point where we're, as she says, getting the grease off the walls to the point where he's going to be receptive to these more motor focused, physical, structural sort of things.
So for our listeners who don't know about Mary Coyle, she is an amazing resource who does homotoxicology, which is a mild detox method of homeopathy. And I've written about it in my book, and you can go into the archives of Autism Detectives and hear my wonderful interview with Mary. She's quite remarkable and stays sort of under the radar. And her work is life-changing, as you just said. And you've only done one round with her, huh?
One round so far, yeah, and then we took a little bit of a break, and then, yeah, we're ready to start the second round. But it's really amazing because it kind of feels like he's kind of like brightening back up finally, and I haven't seen that in him since that adverse reaction when he had those shots at 2 months old. So, yeah, it's been really, really cool kind of watching that work. We've also done a lot of work. He has like a specialized functional pediatrician. As we know, diet is a big part of it. So he is gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free right now. And, yeah, he really seems to be responding. And it's so wonderful to see because when you first receive that diagnosis, you know, the developmental pediatrician will say, yes, you know, he has level 3 autism, like, see you next year for his evaluation. And they just kind of, like, leave it there. So it's so good to see him finally making some sort of improvements. And I think we need to be talking about this kind of stuff.
Right. And you're getting to the root causes, which is what this why this vaccine reaction happened and what's going on in his body and his immune system and his detoxification pathways, and that these foods that you have taken out are inflammatory and problematic for him.
That's right. And I just feel like we have a lot of work to do to there's a lot of stigma around autism in the first place, but there's like extra stigma, it seems, around like trying to treat autism. That doesn't mean that you're not accepting. That doesn't mean that you don't love your child. That doesn't mean that you're not trying your very best.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I just think that there's a lot of...
We have to be over that already.
Yes, exactly. So that's why I just think that all of this is so important, and we've got a lot of work to do. And yeah, I can't wait to see what his future looks like. Things are going really well. And, you know, it's not a matter of, like, whether or not my son's ever going to speak. It's really not that. It's just making sure that he's healthy, making sure that he's happy and taken care of. And I think that's just, like, the priority for any parent, really. But I don't think that we should feel bad for trying to help them. I don't know why we have this opinion about if we go to treat autism that we're somehow not accepting of our child. I don't like that at all. So, yeah, we've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, well, you are leading some of that work, and we're going to hear more about your podcast, but you have found some great people who are pioneers in the field who are teaching about some of this root cause work. I looked at some of the people you have, and you have a YouTube channel where you archive these, right?
That's correct. Yep, and amazing guests that I've had so far. I'm so grateful, including you. Thank you so much. I have to tell you, I had on the show last week a single mother of 3 level 3 autistic children, and she had not heard of total load theory yet. So I just sent your book to her a couple of days ago, and she was blown away by just how thorough it was. And same thing, I have to tell you, that is probably the most comprehensive, thorough autism resource that I am yet to come in contact with. Absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for pushing it and telling people about it, because it's hard to find, and the mainstream is not on board with all the load factors like you are. I mean, you've obviously done your research and sharing it with other people through this podcast is just a real gift to everybody. And I was so honored to be on your podcast. How often do you do it?
I've been releasing an episode every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on availability of some of the guests that I have. It is getting a little busy now, though, so you'll probably see a new episode every 2 weeks through the next, few months.
And you're doing this in addition to homeschooling 2 boys, huh?
Correct, yes. I'm also a clinical herbalist. So I practice with clients one-on-one, and I also teach classes in my local community, and I also volunteer for Moms Across America. I've been taking on research and writing opportunities for Zen Honeycut also. So very busy, a lot going on, but all good things. I feel super blessed and super grateful to be here.
And what are you doing for Moms Across America? For people who don't know about that, that's Zen Honeycut's organization, which is remarkable.
Yes, exactly. So I am currently working with Zen, not for autism-related things, with things around wireless health. I know that's something that you and I have spoken about before. That's another thing that I feel like people don't really realize. So what I'm focusing on now with her is really just around the push to win 6G, as Trump called it, as well as the BIS technology, or the transhumanism technology that's currently being rolled out, and data centers also. That's a big hot topic. So I've been writing and researching on that stuff for her.
Wonderful. Sara, we need to take a break, and when we come back, I want to hear more about this podcast so people can access it and learn from you. You're listening to the Autism Detective. My guest, Sara Villani, is the founder of the NeuroWellness Project. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Now there's help to transform your life. Patricia Lemer's 4th book, called Total Load Theory, Transforming Lives in Autism, ADHD, LDS, PD, and Mental Health, expands and explains the multi-factor, complicated root causes of your chronic health condition. It gives you all types of possible stressors with many methods and therapies to help improve your mental and physical health while overcoming challenges. Help for children and adults. Get your copy of Total Load Theory today at Amazon.com or visit ai.patricialemer.com now.
Constant Contact and your small business make a perfect fit for marketing. They give you what you need to succeed. Fast and easy email marketing at your fingertips. Visit the HealthyLife.net advertiser page and click on Constant Contact to start your marketing.
Did you know that your body was designed to heal itself? At the Bioregulatory Medicine Institute, or BRMI, we believe in that natural wisdom. Our nonprofit organization offers a variety of free resources, from open access e-journals, podcasts, articles, webinars, to workshops and conferences. We hope you will join our tribe because true health knowledge should belong to everyone. Visit brmi.online. That's brmi.online.
Stuff. Where can I contain all of my stuff? How about this? The Container Store, the original storage and organization store. And I found their link on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page. They have containers for everything, including the kitchen, the bathroom, trash and recycling, traveling, spring cleaning, and dorm rooms. Just about everything you can think of to contain your stuff. The Container Store, right on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page.
Audiobooks gives you instant access to over 50,000 of the best sellers and hottest book titles in romance, mystery, fiction, and many other genres. Just visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on Audiobooks to get started.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
Welcome back to the Autism Detective. Sara Villani, a mom who realized that ABA wasn't the answer to her son's autism diagnosis, is my guest today. And Sara, I'm so impressed with how you early on moved away from band-aiding symptoms and realized there was something more serious going on with your son. And you went in the right direction. You're working with Mary Coyle, who was a good friend, and you started this thing called the NeuroWellness Project. What did you say, in 2025? Now, what is that?
So the NeuroWellness Project is a podcast and a YouTube channel that I started over the summer. I got the idea. My son just went through his second round of PRTMS therapy last spring, and it was a little bit of a trek every day. It was about an hour from our house, so, I'm driving back and forth 5 days a week to this clinic. And one day when we were driving home, I just got this idea. I should start a YouTube channel to talk about these treatments because, TMS, nobody knows what that is. I'm like, oh, my son's going for TMS therapy, and nobody knew about it. So
why don't you tell us what it is?
Yeah, that is transcranial magnetic stimulation therapy. It's a non-invasive type of therapy where they use it's called a coil, and it pulses electromagnetic frequencies. They hold it on different parts of the head, and it pulses on different parts of the brain, and the idea is that it influences synaptic activity. So my son had his first round of PRTMS when he was 5 years old, and we saw amazing results from that. So, but here's another, more complex topic. None of this is covered by insurance. So we're talking about, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars out of pocket. So after another 2 years went by, we saved up again, and then we brought him back to the TMS clinic. And, that's where I kind of got the idea to start this show where we talk about all these sort of treatments that nobody is talking about.
Did you do a podcast on TMS? I didn't see that one.
Yes, I did it actually with my son's provider, Frank Plute. His clinic is currently out of Basking Ridge, New Jersey, NeuroHealth. And 10 out of 10 recommend. They don't do TMS just for autism. They also, interestingly enough, use this same technology for depression. So he does both of those things at his clinic. In terms of finding a TMS provider who will do it for autism, that might be a little trickier. I know Frank is the only one in the state of New Jersey that I was able to find who will actually.
And what's his last name?
Plute. P like Paul, L-U-T like Tom.
Okay. And
go ahead.
And you did a podcast on this that people can listen to on your YouTube channel, the NeuroWellness Project YouTube channel.
Yes, I believe the title of that episode was TMS for Autism. I've also had on some pretty amazing doctors and therapists so far. I've had on Dr. Richard Fry. Right when they had that big press conference about autism and leucovorin, I had actually just locked in an interview with him the week before, so kind of divine timing there. So we went all into how him and Dr. Rosignol, how they kind of figured out how leucovorin is beneficial for autism and going into his whole journey and the work that he does. I've had on Dr. Sabine Hazen. We talked about the microbiome and, her kind of views on maybe how autism affects the microbiome. Yep. I've had on
she has a book, Let's Talk
Yes.
or Let's Talk Shit. I forget which one.
Yes, Let's Talk Shit. Yeah. She is a force of nature, Dr. Sabine.
She really is.
She is amazing. That was a great episode, too. I've had on the founder of Spelling to Communicate, Elizabeth Vossler, to talk about that modality. My friend Tracy Slepcevic, Autism Health, that is a nonprofit that she founded. She's also the author of Warrior Mom, A Mother's Journey in Healing Her Son's Autism. And then she puts on the annual Autism Health Summit, which is actually coming up next month in San
California.
Diego. Yes, exactly. So I'm so excited because I'm actually going to be going this year to that.
Wonderful.
Can't wait. And let's see, who else have I had on there? I've had on you, I've had on Mary Coyle as well. She gave me an amazing interview on kind of like the bioenergetics side of autism. Who else? I've had on Frank Plute. I'm just now starting to get more into the humanities side of it, too. So I want to hear from parents with a story. I want to hear from people with lived experience also. This week, actually, I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Paul Frooms. He just opened, the first microbiome clinic in Australia, I believe.
Wow.
So, yes, that's going to be amazing. That's going to be quite an adventure. There's a 16-hour time difference, so I'm going to be interviewing him tomorrow night at 1 a.m. So that's going to be really cool. My first international guest. I'm so excited about it. But, yeah, there's a lot of good information on the podcast, and it is all thanks to people like you who are courageous enough to not only do what you do every day, but to actually, like, be okay with speaking about it openly, and I thank all of you so much.
So my new book, the Total Load book, has an AI companion to it, and the guy who worked that out for me is also in Australia. So I have figured out how to interview him and email back and forth with him and Zoom with him, and we found the best time was about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon when he's just getting up and it's tomorrow already.
Wow.
And so then for neither of us, it has to be the middle of the night.
Yes. I know. I figure it's okay. It's a one night. It's an hour. Like a power nap and a cup of coffee. Like I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so grateful because I know he's very busy with his practice over there. So I can't wait to kind of like dig into that with him to kind of see more about his vision and like how it's going, because I think that's super exciting that this kind of stuff is now starting to spread to other parts of the world like Australia. That's amazing. Can't wait.
It is. Well, that's how I got to my AI companion guy. Was he found Outsmarting Autism, my previous book, and he followed the book and attributes his son's recovery to following all the recommendations in the Outsmarting Autism. And so this world got pretty small now that we're sharing information.
Yes.
So, Sarah, this is fascinating, and I can't wait to continue with you, but we need to take another break. And when we come back, we'll hear more about what you have planned and what you've done with your son that has made such a difference. You're listening to the Autism Detective with my guest, Sara Villani, and the NeuroWellness Project. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Now there's help to transform your life. Patricia Lemer's fourth book, called Total Load Theory, Transforming Lives in Autism, ADHD, LDS, PD, and Mental Health, expands and explains the multi-factor, complicated root causes of your chronic health condition. It gives you all types of possible stressors with many methods and therapies to help improve your mental and physical health while overcoming challenges. Help for children and adults. Get your copy of Total Load Theory today at Amazon.com or visit ai.patricialemer.com now.
Shh! Over here. Here's a secret for a virus-free computer. ESET. They've been a pioneer in the antivirus industry for over 25 years. 25 years of innovative, top-rated antivirus protection. ESET's award-winning security solutions provide a safe online experience for over 100 million home and business computer owners. They are so affordable, fast, and simple to use. So be gone, you blue screen of death. ESET's on my computer. If it's not on yours, visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on ESET now.
Did you know that your body was designed to heal itself? At the Bioregulatory Medicine Institute, or BRMI, we believe in that natural wisdom. Our nonprofit organization offers a variety of free resources, from open access e-journals, podcasts, articles, webinars, to workshops and conferences. We hope you will join our tribe because true health knowledge should belong to everyone. Visit brmi.online. That's brmi.online.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
Welcome back to the Autism Detective. My guest, Sara Villani, the founder of a podcast called the NeuroWellness Project, is my guest. And Sara, I'm so grateful to you for sharing your story, pouring your heart out. As you say, we have a lot of work to do, and it took you a deep dive into the literature to find out that you weren't just going to wait and see and do ABA, that you have found some remarkable people and interviewed them in this project, and I'm just honored to have been one of the people that you interviewed. Sara, what is happening with your son today? Is he, how is he moving along?
I think he is doing great. I think we're really starting to make some more positive traction in his healing journey. Like I said, it's not about him just like being able to speak. It's really about, like how's his anxiety level? He's very tense. So he's kind of starting to like loosen up a lot more. We have, eye contact amazing. We finally have some echolalia coming in too since we've started homotoxicology. We have like spitting, which is a new thing, but this is all good. This is him, becoming aware of his body. He is starting to like jump off of the ground with both feet. He's starting to kind of explore the dimensions a little bit more. Yeah. He's actually interacting with his brother, which is something that we haven't seen that happen before. He's doing a lot better. He used to have trouble going into places that were, big, like warehouse, food store type of places. He wasn't able to do large gatherings because I guess it was just too overwhelming sensory-wise, but that is starting to go away now. So the whole world is just kind of like opening up for him, and we are so grateful and so excited.
And so what else do you think is in his future? You're just starting, though, with Mary Coyle, right? So certainly as you move along her program.
Yes, so we are moving through Mary Coyle's program now. I have to get him in with the developmental optometrist. Something else that we would like to get to would be stem cells. My son just received an inheritance actually from my grandmother, who passed away actually the morning of our interview together, and it turns out that she actually left him an inheritance that will be enough for stem cell therapy.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of, I want to make sure that we're doing things like in the right order for him.
Right.
So I'm going to wait to see.
Prioritizing is hard because you want to do everything. But as you recognize, if you don't do them in the right order by laying the foundations, you waste time and money, and you just have to figure out what's the next priority.
Exactly. And then, as I mentioned, Selling to Communicate, kind of, we're definitely going to keep that going. That's been amazing. But there's so much out there. I'm sure he'll be in there for another round of TMS in a year or two once we save up for that. My big thing is it really baffles my mind how inaccessible these treatments are. Like for his first round of TMS, it took my husband, who works 3 jobs, both of my parents, my sets of parents, and my brother actually had to chip in for that. So it kind of bothers me how inaccessible that these things are, but, it's not going to get better.
What can we do about that? I think that Bobby Kennedy is working hard on getting access to some of these therapies for our kids.
Yes, agree. And I was ecstatic when he made it through and actually got confirmed as Secretary of State. I'm sure that there's a whole army of us who were cheering that day, because we're really starting to make some positive traction here. I know he just appointed those 21 new members to the IACC, which is amazing. My friend Tracy's in there too. So this is it's amazing. Things are really starting to move in the right direction, and we really have to start having these conversations and kind of pushing this information out there so that we can get some positive traction, and let's actually start helping people who have this condition and the families who are affected, and making these things more accessible and mainstream so that, so we could actually start helping people instead of just dumping all of the funding money into, genetic research and whatever else they've been doing. It's not actually doing anything. So, a lot of good things going on. It's a crazy time in history, but I'm so excited to be here for it.
Yep. Do you know Lindsay Moffett?
I do not. No, who is she?
That's a woman. She's starting a new research foundation, and she's just asked me to be on her board of directors. And so she might be somebody you want to have on your podcast. And she's raising money to research showing the efficacy of some of these therapies so that they will be more accessible. And I think that you and she ought to talk.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I'll send you her information. But
thank you.
You're right. It's not only don't people know about them, when they find out about them like you did, you've got to have a fundraiser or 2 or 3 or 5 to be able to afford them. And that's just not okay, because this is damage that was done to our kids that needs to be undone before we can actually get to the speech and the academics that we so much want to have our kids be able to do. Those things in my book don't even come till like 3/4 of the way through the book.
Yes. Exactly. And I know it's such a broad and such a complex issue or situation that we're up against in this society, to make these things well heard of and to make them accessible for people. And I'm honored, honestly, to be a part of the circle of people out there who are doing this work, because I couldn't think of something more important. Autism had not touched my family before my son had, but it seems like everyone who you speak to these days, everyone you know either is affected by autism or their family is, or somebody, or your grandson or your friend. So there's a lot of opportunity for improvement.
Right. And people, as you say, are not aware of these root cause interventions. They're looking at just masking symptoms and trying to treat symptoms without a good foundation. And you really are getting to the foundation, which is so important. Sarah, we need to take our last break. This has been so helpful. And when we come back, I want people to be able to know how to reach you and your products and services. So we'll be sure and start with that. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon with Sara Villani of the NeuroWellness Project.
Now there's help to transform your life. Patricia Lemer's 4th book, called Total Load Theory, Transforming Lives in Autism, ADHD, LDS, PD, and Mental Health, expands and explains the multi-factor, complicated root causes of your chronic health condition. It gives you all types of possible stressors with many methods and therapies to help improve your mental and physical health while overcoming challenges. Help for children and adults. Get your copy of Total Load Theory today at Amazon.com or visit ai.patricialemer.com now.
You know, when my grandson takes a long car trip, he listens to audiobooks. A long drive seems faster, and sometimes he doesn't want to get out of the car because the book isn't finished. With over 100,000 books, Audible.com is one of the best places to get audiobooks. You can listen to a bestseller anytime, anywhere. Audible.com, your destination for the widest selection of audiobooks. Join millions of listeners. Just go to the Audible.com on HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click.
Did you know that your body was designed to heal itself? At the Bioregulatory Medicine Institute, or BRMI, we believe in that natural wisdom. Our nonprofit organization offers a variety of free resources, from open access e-journals, podcasts, articles, webinars, to workshops and conferences. We hope you will join our tribe because true health knowledge should belong to everyone. Visit brmi.online. That's brmi.online.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
Welcome back to the Autism Detective. Sara Villani, this is so interesting. Tell people how they can find you and the NeuroWellness Project on YouTube and where else. Maybe you can give an email address if people have questions.
Yes, absolutely. My YouTube channel is the NeuroWellness Project, NeuroWellness, one word. And my email address is theneurowellnessproject@gmail.com. And yeah, I'm happy to field any sort of information. I'm always around and available, and I really believe in what I'm doing with this project, and I'd be happy to talk to anybody out there.
Aren't you nice? So it's the word "the" in front of NeuroWellness, all one word.
Correct.
What did you mean when you named it? What do you mean by NeuroWellness?
I just feel like autism is a neurological condition, neurological disorder or dysfunction. So I was really looking for a name to kind of encompass like where I'm trying to bring things. So that's where neuro and then wellness comes into play. Like, let's help people to get well.
Wow. And you're also interested in herbs, too, you said. Tell me about that.
Yes, so that was kind of like my one of the gateways into this world for me. I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, and when I was in my mid-20s, I went to my OB. I had just gotten engaged, and, you know, I wanted to start a family, but when I went into my OB, they told me that I would never be able to conceive naturally, and, you know, handed me a brochure for their sister, you know, IVF clinic and kind of sent me on my way. And then I started looking into herbs for PCOS. So it wasn't just the herbs. I made tweaks in my lifestyle, you know, in my activities that I was doing, you know, cleaned all of the toxic cosmetics and cleaning supplies out of my house. And, I wasn't getting pregnant with my son, but I finally, after about a year and a half of all of this positive traction and eating well and sleeping well and prioritizing self-care and, you know, getting all the toxins out of my life, I found out that I was pregnant. So when I went back to my OB, I was just like, okay, well, this wasn't supposed to be able to happen naturally. The only response that I got was, well, it looks like he really wanted to be here. So
oh, my goodness.
Which I don't disagree, but I just think that, when I brought up that I had been using herbs and, you know, these lifestyle tweaks, she said that stuff doesn't really work, but I think that it just makes you feel better. But, you know, my experience has been a little bit different. So I started out my herbalism practice. It's called Jivana Wellness Co., Jivana. I have an apothecary on my property in Milford, New Jersey. And it started out as just like a natural skincare thing. So I was just making, salves and balms, but, just kind of like with the autism thing, I was kind of like, okay, well, if somebody's having these issues with their skin, there has to be something going on inside of their body. I want to learn about what that is. So I started diving into studying this sort of thing. And after a few years, I felt comfortable enough to practice clinically. So now my scope of practice is actually holistic management of chronic illness, just because, my journey with PCOS and, kind of helping my son, like, through his autism. So, yeah, that's kind of the scope of my practice now.
That's fantastic. And so this is yet another project you're doing in your spare time with homeschooling your kids and having this podcast, which has just been wonderful. And I'm so impressed with the guests that you've had on your podcast. They're really important names. So I encourage people to go to Sara's YouTube channel. And what is it called? The NeuroWellness Project on YouTube?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes, and I have to tell you, I kind of came into this, I started in July only really knowing our TMS provider and, our specialized functional pediatrician. I'm not sure how I keep getting these interviews with these world-renowned experts. Honestly, I think it really is just kind of like divinely guided at this point, and that's kind of how I know that I'm moving in the right direction with this because, yeah, we've really had on some amazing guests. I have a lot of great things planned and, interesting guests and kind of like, yeah, let's see where this goes. It's a very exciting thing.
Now, you don't have a website.
Not yet. I do not. No, I kind of, my Instagram account for my herbal practice is actually the first social media that I have ever had. So I kind of prefer to stay a little bit, to fly under the radar, if you will. Yeah. So this that's why it's so ironic, or it's so funny that, I started a YouTube channel, because if you knew me, in real life, like, I would have been the last person that you would have ever thought who, would do something like that. But, yeah, we'll see where it goes. I think I'm slowly but surely getting more comfortable with kind of like sharing more about myself and like the project and everything.
Good.
So, yeah.
Good. You're a great voice, and it needs to be heard. How does your pharma family feel about what you're doing?
Ooh, I kind of got estranged, if you will, from most of my extended family during COVID, because I would not take the shot and I would not give it to my children, and my husband also refused. So we were kind of like excommunicated for a few years. My parents, I will say, are probably, other than my husband, like my biggest supporters in this, and I am so grateful for them. This is kind of like starting to open their eyes as well to all of these things. And it's hard because, when your parents raised you a certain way and then you raise your kid a certain way, and then, they kind of have the experience that they have and, now starting to do things differently. It's a lot of like unlearning this stuff, right? So I give my family, who is supportive anyway, so much credit for actually taking the time to like listen to what I've been trying to say for 8 years. So it's all good.
Well, thank goodness they're supportive, and aren't your sons lucky to have grandparents who are supportive of them and you?
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't be more thankful.
So what would you like to leave our listeners with, words of wisdom?
I think my biggest word of wisdom is don't be afraid to do things differently. I think a lot of the time we might be afraid of facing the stigma that comes along with wanting to do things a different way. I would just encourage everybody to keep doing their research and keep reaching out to the people around you. And, yeah, I'm here if anybody has any questions.
I love it. Sarah, it's so wonderful to know you, and I'm just thrilled with the interview you did with me that people can listen to on YouTube. And I am just thrilled to have you on this Autism Detectives podcast, and I know people will learn a lot from you. And feel free to contact Sara at the NeuroWellness Project at gmail.com.
Yes, thank you so much, Patty. It's an honor to be here. I thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Now there's help to transform your life. Patricia Lemer's fourth book, called Total Load Theory, Transforming Lives in Autism, ADHD, LDS, PD, and Mental Health, expands and explains the multi-factor, complicated root causes of your chronic health condition. It gives you all types of possible stressors with many methods and therapies to help improve your mental and physical health while overcoming challenges. Help for children and adults. Get your copy of Total Load Theory today at Amazon.com or visit ai.patricialemer.com now.
One of the best things about the technology available today is being able to listen to HealthyLife.net on the go or while I'm at work. Typically, headphones or earphones are required, and let's face it, sometimes they break or get worn out or lost. To find my latest solution to this, I found the Earphone Solutions website while browsing the HealthyLife.net advertiser page. There are plenty of options from basic inexpensive on-the-go earphones to studio-quality headphones for when I really have time to enjoy everything from rock to Bach. Earphone Solutions on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page.
Did you know that your body was designed to heal itself? At the Bioregulatory Medicine Institute, or BRMI, we believe in that natural wisdom. Our nonprofit organization offers a variety of free resources, from open access e-journals, podcasts, articles, webinars, to workshops and conferences. We hope you will join our tribe because true health knowledge should belong to everyone. Visit brmi.online. That's brmi.online.
Where positive people and radio unite. HealthyLife.net.